how long has Quoth the Raven's account been working? Been live? When did you start the account? It was like 2013.
Quoth. Didn't you ever hear the poem?
Of course.
Quoth the Raven. Oh, all right, cool.
When did you start? That was like 2013?
I started in 2012, 2013. And basically I started the moniker Quoth the Raven just kind of randomly.
Yeah.
Because I was working a job at the time and I was taking some of my pay in stock and I wasn't making a lot of cash. And I needed some extra money for, beers and certain social activities that I'd become accustomed to throughout the course of my time working as a bartender. And so I started writing on Seeking Alpha a very long time ago in like 2011 or 2012. And the point was to just earn some beer money. And I knew that I had to stay anonymous because I didn't want people to take my name and, be like, oh, well, this guy's working investor relations here and he's writing there, whatever. There wasn't anything nefarious about it. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't writing about the company that I worked for.
Sure.
But I just wanted to distance the two. And back when Seeking Alpha was like still kind of in its nascent stages, I remember they would actually call you to like onboard you. Somebody called me and they're like, oh, well, you can stay anonymous if you want. Like what name would you want to use? Whatever. And I had like this book of Edgar Allen Poe sitting there at the office with me. So I was like, yeah, Quoth the Raven, I was an English major, pretty much bullshitted my way through the entire major, and in my defense, there was a lot of like postmodern nonsense throughout the major. So I feel like I'm kind of even with Westchester University for bullshitting my way through it. They threw shit at me. I gave them, garbage in, garbage out. Right. But what I'll say is that I actually enjoyed Poe. So it was something I was like reading on my own. And so I just kind of threw it out there thinking this will do for 6 months. And now it's like 15 years later and people are coming up to me like, oh yeah, big Edgar Allen Poe fan. I'm like, not fucking really, like, well, what does the name mean? Like, I don't fucking know, like if you find out, tell me. I don't know what the name means, so that's how that came about.
So what were you writing on initially?
Anything they would publish me on.
Okay.
So they had pretty strict editorial guidelines. So I was just writing about, really whatever the editors would allow me to write about.
Okay.
I remember I wrote a lot about Pandora. I wrote a lot about, some speculative biotechs. You got to remember like 15 years ago.
Like the jewelry or the music?
No, the music streaming service. Yeah. Wasn't
there an issue with the jewelry one too? They were in malls for a while. They had the little like giblets.
I think they still are.
Okay. It's a great company.
But yeah, just pretty much like, I was just still learning. I was still learning a lot. Really, when I was working in that role as an investor relations professional was the first time that I seriously sat down with like securities lawyers and like an actual CEO and was helping draft 10Ks and 10Qs and 8Ks and, all these SEC filings. So I was really learning the inner workings of public reporting. Prior to that, I had gone to graduate school, done like a program that had some business in it, but it wasn't like an MBA. So I was still like learning equity analysis for the most part. And so really like if you back and you read like shit from 2011, 2012, like it's kind of all over the place. And I'm still kind of, just trying to get my footing really. Honestly, the number one priority was make money so I could go to the Lewiston Village pub, which was my local bar with my friends. That was the first thing I was concerned with. After that was like, okay, perhaps you should consider the quality of the work. And then like everything else came after that. But so I just kind of wrote about whatever. And it was great because it was a learning experience at the same time. And I'm still learning now as I tell my subscribers on my Substack, like, just please presume I have no idea what I'm doing. And all's well that ends well. Now I'm here with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything I've ever done my entire life has led me to be right here with Tom.